It's expensive to be made.
Welcome to Bravo's Moms Unfiltered, the podcast where real moms spill the tea on all the things Bravo and the chaos of everyday life.
We're your hosts, Allie and Crystal, two Bravo-assessed moms who aren't afraid to say what everyone's thinking completely unfiltered.
From housewives drama to mom life meltdowns, we're here to break it all down with humor, honesty, and maybe a little bit of bitching.
So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and get ready for some unfiltered fun. Welcome back, housewives. We'll get started with Real Housewives of Orange County Reunion Part 2. So we start with Andy asking Tamra and Jen where they stand after Amsterdam, and they both say, I don't know. Jen says she never knows what version of Tamra she's going to get, and Tamra said Jen wasn't into making their friendship better this season. Tamra keeps saying Jen moved 2 houses down from her where she lived. But apparently that's where she used to live with her ex, Simon. So Jen keeps saying that Tamra didn't live there at the time, so I don't know why Tamra keeps bringing that up. That's, like, kind of irrelevant at this
Here's
point.
where she was.
Yeah, exactly. Tamra apologizes for showing Jen's fat photo, which I'm glad she did. Tamra owns up to the affair rumors with Jen at her yoga studio, which I think this could have all been kibosh if she just went up to Jen in the first place and said, I heard this, instead of just making rumors out of it, but that's what Tamra does. They talk about Ryan, and Jen says she has insecurities since she found Ryan later in her life, and she is now trying to finally figure out who she is. Which I think kind of makes sense, because it seems like she was young when she married her ex. Jen said, her Will and Ryan have all met since the showing aired, and he actually apologized for everything and told Ryan that he is grateful that he took the kids in and help her, and he finally paid her for child support. So good for Will. Gina apologized to Heather for her getting into comedy. So that whole like big fight that they had. Gina apologized to her for that. Heather said she didn't like the comments from Gina, especially since they're both trying to get back into the working world, which I guess makes sense if you look at it from that point. They're both trying to come back after having kids and get back into that lifestyle. So I can see where Heather was a little bit upset, but when she took it out on Gina, it didn't make any sense. But how she explained it like this, I feel like that makes a little bit more sense. So they go on a break. I think it was lunch break. So Matt, Katie's husband, shows up during the break. On the break, Shannon comes into Jen's trailer eating literally a bag of chicken that she meal prepped, like literally just sitting there eating it. So you know her hands reek of like chicken. Oh, I couldn't. So Shannon asked Jen, what is up with Tamra and her attacking me, saying, I'm not talking to you, girl. Stop talking and shut up. Then they go to Katie and Matt, and Katie tells Matt she's happy he's there. Tamra has been fine, but it's Jen calling her a con artist. Jen says to Katie, so I got a little confused here. So Jen says to Katie, Nicole, who is Nicole of Matthew, who is Ryan's friend that was in the last season. Do you remember that? They were at that party, and that's where they started talking about like the was it illegal gambling or something that Ryan and this guy were doing. So I don't know if that's Matt's wife or fiance, whatever, but she's with Matthew. So Matthew, Ryan's best friend, went to jail. She meaning Nicole and Ryan were driving Matt to prison, and Nicole told Ryan that chick, Katie, is weird. Evidently, I didn't really understand this, but somehow Katie appeared. And Nicole didn't know Katie was coming. Katie went straight to Nicole and asked if Ryan was involved in this whole thing, with the illegal stuff. Jen said it seemed weird that Katie went to Nicole to get information. I was a tad confused at this. Did you understand?
Yeah, like I understand this
Like what happened?
scenario. They were all driving on the way to the jail, but how did Katie get in there?
But I didn't understand the whole Katie thing. Like, was she at the jailhouse waiting for them, like the prison? Like, I didn't understand that part. So I was a little confused on that. Gretchen sent Katie an apology, and Katie said it looked like she ChatGPT'd it. Gretchen apologized, and Katie said she accepted it. She said she would never have a real friendship. I never had a real friendship until this friend group, and people don't know that. Jen says Katie was one of her most real friends she had. Jen says Katie was so hell-bent at Mastro's in the roofie story, and Katie says she'll go to her grave saying Gretchen told her that story, that she was roofied. and went to the hospital. They bring up naked wasted again. Andy questions Jen how she said she didn't know anything. And then in one episode, and then the other episode, she said she was so sick, that Gretchen was so sick and that she should have gone to the hospital, which I didn't catch that. But they did play both clips, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting that she's kinda backtracking on what she said before, at least for Jen." Gretchen is called out for saying she went to the hospital and said she was blindsided and she didn't remember saying it, especially on camera, which is kinda interesting, but I've never been, like, on a TV film, so I'm not sure. You
Right.
know what I mean? Where they're filming you, you say something, and then you kinda not black out, but you kinda forget you said it until they show the cameras. So then Andy invites Matt out. Evidently, Slade, Matt, and Ryan were all invited to talk about Naked Wasted, and only Matt came. Matt said the story illustrates, about how dangerous Tamra is. He says while they were all in, New Orleans, Slade texted Matt 911. Jen, Gretchen, and Matt all start to get into it. He can't even finish the story, and they all start talking over each other. Jen says she probably doesn't want them to bring up the convo they had at dinner, and Gretchen says, "Oh, I'll go there." And she says the second Matt met Eddie, he said, "I knew he was gay." So I don't know why she keeps bringing
She's
up the whole Eddie and
deflecting.
gay thing. It's just like I know she is. So they go back to Matt. So evidently Slade and Matt talk and says that Katie talked to Kiki Monique and Katie just sealed her own fate. That story was never supposed to come out. As he's trying to say more, Gretchen just keeps interrupting him so he can't finish his story. So Matt says he was gonna call Katie after this whole thing. And so he goes to call her and said, "Did you tell Kiki that the story got out? And we have to stick to the narrative with Gretchen." And then somehow they bring Sheena Shea into this whole conversation. But for some reason, Sheena Shea is brought up into this, and evidently Gretchen knows Sheena. And there's this whole thing that Katie was talking about how Gretchen knows Sheena, and they were working together to like make up stories about Tamra, which we've kind of heard that in the press, but she like knew something more than we didn't. And then Andy goes to say, and I think this was a good point. He says that if Naked Wasted actually happened the way that everyone's saying that it did 15 years ago, this would have been huge news back then, and they would have called the cops, which I agree.
Yeah, I think Gretchen would have tried to make a payday, but then she also knew the power of
Yes.
Bravo as well.
Yeah. But I still think some of it would have got leaked somehow to like TMZ or something, and we would have heard about it then if this was actually as big as they're saying it
Right.
is.
I don't know. And this is why Sheena and Tamara didn't get along at the BravoCon.
Yeah. Yep. And then it ends with Katie saying Jen fucked with her paycheck because she had to stop filming because she didn't stick up for her, and that's where we end
Yeah, I didn't get
part
that
2 of the
part, meaning
reunion.
that since nobody was getting along with Katie, they didn't wanna film with her?
She made it sound like she stopped filming, but I think it's because no one stood up for her, so she felt like she had to just leave the group. But I also thought she was a big, like, announcer for golf or something like
Right,
that
I don't
too,
know.
like, as her full-time job. So, I don't know, I really feel like we really didn't learn anything new in part 2. It was just kind of the same old stuff about Naked Wasted. So, Southern Charm episode 1. This was a good
You liked it?
episode. I don't know what you thought about
Yeah,
it,
they just
yeah.
did a recap of a lot of
I thought it was just
seasons.
a nice for season 1 or
Right,
episode
they
1.
kinda, like, went into everybody's backstory.
Mhm.
Yeah, it based it around Madison's baby shower and then everybody buying gifts.
Mhm.
That was the base of
Mhm.
everything. We have Craig, Austin, Shep, Vanita, Rodriguez, Sally, Molly, Madison this year.
Mhm.
And Vanita and Sally are best friends because Sally and her got close after TJ Fidasco last season. Apparently, Vanita, after the show, they hung out in the hotel to 5 a.m., insinuating they had sex. And then the next morning, he left and blocked her.
Yeah.
So Sally and Molly are close. Vanita still hates Craig because of her taking Paige's side. But it's crazy because Sally, her opinion was she doesn't feel that Vanita should have took Paige's side and that she should have took the person who had the longer standing friendship, which was Craig.
Yep.
But Vanita's
Correct.
like, I've
Yeah.
never had a real relationship with Craig because Vanita and who's the other lady that has her other show?
Oh, I can see her
I'll give
face.
her.
Leva.
Leva.
Leva, yeah.
So Vanita and Leva were really close, but now Sally and Vanita are close. And Leva and Austin never got along. Or Leva and Craig never got along since he yelled at her at the Christmas party because he found out that she had her own show starting. So I go with Vanita. Like, you can't tell me who I can and who I can't be friends with. And if I'm gonna side
Yeah.
with the right side, then that's who. So they went to the Shep and Austin went to the baby store. And they had like an awkward moment. Shep walks in and the cashier ladies, did you get that? When they said how
Yes.
awkward? Because he's probably
Yeah.
slept with the whole town and he probably slept with like the daughters.
Well, he also just, like, talks and, like, I feel like in circles sometimes, but yeah, I caught that when he goes to leave and he goes, "So awkward."
And then Austin pointed out that he's really cheap considering that he's a trust fund baby.
I didn't know that
Yeah,
about
he's a
Shep.
trust fund baby.
Makes a
Yeah.
ton of sense.
And then Molly and her apartment with all the animals and Snake.
God. And she loses her
Oh my
snake.
God, I would
Oh
die.
god. I
I'd be
would've
like,
moved.
nope, not coming in. I don't even think I'd come in your house if you had a pet.
I know. Rodrigo came in, and I was like, "Oh, dear God, they're gonna move something, and it's gonna be there."
He's gonna sit on something.
I know.
Who else? Madison. Madison is 8 months pregnant. She goes to
Yeah.
Craig's house. They talk about Paige and how she feels bad for Craig because Craig felt like they were already married, like they lived a married life. And the way things ended, he didn't appreciate, which no breakup's gonna go great because you're a
Yeah.
celebrity.
Yeah. Yes.
And he said he just dated that other girl because he was lonely. He wasn't used to being lonely.
I'm glad he
Yeah,
admitted that, though, that they were
he
dating
did.
or
They had
dated.
dated. And that was about it. So they go to her baby shower, and Vanita doesn't talk to Craig. Craig doesn't talk to Vanita. Everybody's like trying to get him to talk, and they're like, why? Why do I have to? I don't have anything to say to him. And like they're just pushing them to talk to each other, and they're like, no. Craig brings Corey. Ooh, why are you back on the show? He was just like a bro at Summer House. I don't know why.
I didn't realize he was on Summer House. I looked him up, and I realized that he's close with
Yeah,
Kyle.
because he was on Summer House one season. He slept with this blonde and they like had a relationship throughout the whole episode and then like he broke up with her or something. It reminded me of previous girl that was on there. I can't remember. Anyways, it was like a pattern. But Corey and
Okay.
Craig have been friends since college. So when
Mhm.
he went to Summer House, I was like, how does Kyle? So Corey got on the show because of Craig, because Craig was dating Paige and was coming to the Summer House one season. So I think that's how they all kind of connect is Craig is the root of that was about it. There wasn't really anything interesting. I mean, it was a cute baby shower. Patricia showed up and she always looks like she's
Yeah,
dressing to go out to bed. Like she's ready for
I know.
bed.
She hosted it
Yeah.
too.
That was it. There wasn't anything else important.
Vanita calls Craig a bitch.
That
That
was
was funny.
important. That is very important.
And in her confessional, the producer asked her, I forget a question, and then the first thing she goes is, "He's a bitch," or something like that, which I thought was hilarious.
It's so funny.
Oh, yeah, and then Molly misses her band
And
concert, and she's flirting with Corey, and he basically says, like, "Calm down." And I was like, "How dare you say that?" Or, like, "It's not serious," or
yeah,
something
he's
like
like,
that
it's
to
not
her.
that serious. And I was like, damn. I mean, like, he's right, but don't say that to someone who's like had a couple of,
Yeah, it's serious.
you're the one that's like,
Yeah, it's serious to
he was
her.
instigating the drinks and he was like insinuating that he
Yes.
was already going to go over to her place.
Yeah, and then they're gonna have an after party at
Yeah, like
Whitney's,
insinuating
and Sally was gonna go, and Vanita got mad.
they were having an after party at Whitney's.
Yeah. It's Vanita didn't know, and then Vanita got mad because Sally was gonna go there and Craig was there, so she was basically choosing Craig over Vanita in that moment, but seems like it'll be a good season. Real Housewives of Potomac, episode 7.
Yeah, they finally bring Monique into the picture. She was a housewife 2 or 3 episodes. She had gotten into a physical altercation with one of the housewives and was kicked off the show because that housewife ended up suing her.
I think you talked about this.
She's very zen. She dated the NFL player, got a divorce. She loves birds. Her and Ashley have always stayed connected, so that's where she falls into the pictures. I think Ashley, I don't know, Ashley's just got pool in this Bravo world.
Mhm.
They talk about, so Ashley talks about all the girls and what's up with everyone. The only one Monique really knows is Giselle. Then they go to Wendy. Wendy and Eddie are doing things for their weed brand. And Wendy points out that her dad did not call her on her birthday, which was sad. Excuse me. And then they go to Stacy. Stacy launches her Shio gummy bear, THC gummy bears, which was funny because she's like, I didn't copy you guys and stuff like that. I was like, well, you technically didn't because you're doing gummies, he's doing weed. But
Yeah.
the word Shio means happy in Nigerian, and Eddie's weed is called Happy Eddie. So
Yeah.
it kind of matches. Anyways, Stacy's doesn't get it. Eddie calls Stacy a copycat. Ashley ends up inviting everybody to her private pride party. So they end up there, and there's nothing really that sticks out to me. Giselle was still fighting for her father's will because she believes
Mhm.
the stepmom ripped it, like threw it in the trash like a week or two before he died. And Giselle was like, he wasn't even capable of holding his own spoon. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know if she won the case or not with that. That would be interesting to see.
Yeah, they didn't
Yeah.
say.
3 of the ladies, Wendy, Ashley, and Stacy, go to Jazzy's wedding. It was beautiful. And then they had
Mhm.
to go and
Yep.
fly right back to the Pride Parade party, which was crazy.
Where was the wedding at?
It
What
was
state?
beautiful, though. It was
It
really
was,
pretty.
yeah.
And then they get back for the Pride show, and then Monique makes another appearance there. And then right at the end, she got done introducing and talking and stuff, and then Kay opens her mouth and says like, "Well, I thought you and Stacy knew each other." And Monique was like, "No, I don't know her." And then Giselle chimes in and be like, "Nope, but she knows your husband."
I know.
And I was like, "You and you are shady."
Yeah.
So that
Yeah, it was kind of a boring
yeah, it gets
episode.
boring and boringer. I don't know. They could have done better.
These these filler episodes, like, at the middle ones are just boring. Because I said that with OC too. They had a couple of boring ones, I'm like, "This wasn't needed." It was just filler.
I feel you.
So, that's how this one was. Salt Lake City, episode 8. So this is day 3 on a boat. Starts off with yoga and breakfast. Lisa and Meredith are in the room talking about Brittany. Meredith says she's discussing and thinks she's a Disney princess, which I thought was kind of funny. Brown comes into Meredith's room and asks if they should throw Uni, the unicorn from Jared, into the ocean. So Meredith and Brown proceed to dress up in those inflatable like outfits that she has, and they take Uni the unicorn to the deck, throw him overboard. It's so windy outside. That they're like blowing away, not blowing away, but they're like blowing in these costumes. At breakfast, Meredith doesn't even want to talk to Brittany and says that her issue is with Whitney. But Meredith keeps saying that Brittany doesn't exist. So she ends up switching seats, I think, with Whitney. Meredith is mad that Whitney co-signed this whole TikTok rumor about Seth having an
Mhm.
affair. Meredith said she's done with Brittany and anyone who will support her. They get to the dock and the ladies get off the boat. Heather apologizes for their fighting to the crew and everyone and gives them a tip. Daisy, the main stew, runs out with with Uni and says she's all wet. And Brittany asks who threw Uni over, and they all kind of say, "Not me, not me." Um, so this was kind of crazy. So evidently they're back in the States at this point. Heather says, before they got on the plane, Meredith was out of her mind. She was yelling and screaming and crying because Brittany talked about her marriage. She was making a scene at the airport and they don't think that she was aware she was making a scene. They said they're in the air and Meredith just became unhinged and the entire first class could hear her. Meredith says all she was doing was a very simple vent to her bestie, Lisa, about what Brittany said. And then she says, evidently Brittany started to cry. Meredith says she only talked to Lisa about it for 10 minutes, but apparently It was a lot longer than she remembered. Mary meets up with Browen because Browen took a separate flight home and tells her she should be happy she didn't travel with them because it was pure chaos. Heather meets up with Brittany, and Brittany seems like she is still not okay about this whole thing and kind of like shook about it
Heather was
still.
there.
Heather
She
was
was
so
asleep.
it was Lisa and Mary, or Lisa and Meredith, and then it was Brittany, Heather and Brittany, and then someone was here and 2 people were here, I think, is how it went.
Whitney was there,
But Meredith was behind Brittany, or Meredith was behind Brittany.
but they were there and they all, like, said, "No, that's not how it went down." And it's
I
crazy
know,
because now they
I
all
know,
formed an alliance based on that scene
I
that
know,
wasn't cameraed.
I know. And I'm surprised none of them took out their phones to film, I guess because they made a big scene about Brittany
Right.
doing it. But even if they just recorded the conversation, like, just had your phone, like, you know what I mean, just looking at the ceiling. So Heather says when Meredith and Lisa are together, they are bullies. She said they were pulling on Brittany's hair, and when Meredith got up to go to the bathroom, she shook Brittany's chair. So you know how sometimes you get up and it moves? I feel like she was, like, violently, like, shaking it to be obnoxious. Brittany said the flight attendant kept checking on her and asking if she was okay. So to me, that means Meredith was making a huge scene if that was happening. Brittany said she is upset Lisa turned on her. Brown meets up with Whitney and says that there's a rumor that Todd was caught on the plane looking at pictures of a woman that they mutually know. Brown says she would be happy if Todd told her he was looking at the pictures or sleeping with other women, then maybe they could do it together. And I was like, okay, that's weird. But you and Whitney are both into weird stuff like that. So didn't put it past me that they're both like, yeah, I would like that. You know what I mean? So then we go to Lisa. Lisa and Heather meet up, and Lisa is an hour late to this meetup. Lisa says Meredith was upset and she was trying to soothe her. Lisa denies antagonizing Brittany with Meredith, and Lisa also said Brittany needs to take responsibility for this. And Lisa gets mad at Heather, and Heather gets mad at Lisa. Like, they don't resolve anything here at lunch or whatever it was. Mary and Meredith meet up, and Mary asks how Meredith is doing. Mary says the whole thing lasted longer than this 30 minutes that Meredith said it lasted. And Meredith said it lasted like a minute. And Mary's like, no, we were all there. It was definitely like 30
I
minutes
know
or
that's
more.
what, like, Heather was like, "No, it was the whole flight,
Yeah.
and it was a 2-hour
Yeah.
flight."
Yeah, and Meredith keeps saying everything to, like, spin everything that happened on the plane in a different way, so she's not taking accountability for anything at all. And Meredith and Lisa both remember things differently, so definitely interesting that you have 2 people out of, what, the other 4 that were on the plane, 4 or 5, that remember it differently, so I wish they could get, like, other people on that plane to tell the story of what happened. So that is
The
just
only person that knows is
crazy.
people that are screaming. So then you have
Yeah,
Lisa and Meredith against Brittany, and nobody's liked Brittany,
yeah,
and it's crazy because they're all
yep,
going for Brittany's side because they're
mhm,
on the right side. I do believe
yeah.
Meredith went crazy.
Oh, I do too. I do too. I think she was trying to hold it in on the boat, and then something happened before they got on the plane, and she just lost it. Do I think Seth had an affair? Possibly. It sounded like she did a couple seasons ago, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was true at the time. So that's where we leave that in Salt Lake. Some Bravo news. Did you see what's his name? Umansky. I wanna say Mauricio.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
You see the shoot he did with People
I stopped
magazine?
wearing leather pants.
Oh, I couldn't look at it. The way they were, like, pulling his shirt at one point, I was like, "Oh god. He's too
He
old for
thinks he's a
this."
rock star because
I
his
know he
wife
does.
is in love with a band member.
Yes. So, there's that. Former Real Housewife of Potomac star Mia Thornton was arrested in Atlanta. I think did you send me
Yeah,
that? It's because she stole furniture from a
apartment.
rented house yeah, that
She
she was
moved
in,
out at
right?
night, so the guy that she was dating probably got her this apartment, told her that he furnished everything, not knowing that it was rented, and then she
Yeah,
broke up, and she thought she was doing the big ballsy thing, leaving him in the dead of night, stole the furniture, and the furniture's not even yours.
yeah, yeah. I don't understand
Raised
what's in the water with these people. Real Housewives of OC Megan King lost custody of her kids that she had with ex-husband Jim Edmonds after Child Protective Services was called. And I think they have 3 kids together, twins and then another one. So I was like, what is I mean, I'm kinda not surprised that she lost it, but I don't know, that was
Well,
crazy to
she
hear.
broke into his house, right?
Not
I
recently,
can't
right?
remember.
She has though, I think, because he's remarried now to someone else, like his 4th or 5th wife at this point. Jen Shaw is going to be released on December 10th. She's getting out early, so we'll see what happens when she gets
Let's see.
out. Stacey Schroeder is going to host the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives reunion. Nick Vile did it for last season, and now Stassi's going to. Stassi's a much better choice than Nick Vile or Vale, whatever. Other news that broke today, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Candy Burris and her husband Todd split after 11 years of marriage. And I think she was at BravoCon with her daughter. They were on stage together, if I remember
Who?
correctly. Candy
Yeah,
Burris isn't her
she
daughter
just won the
on Next
award. She
Gen.
won the Lifetime
Yeah,
Mother Award or
yeah.
something.
And then Kathy Hilton and Sutton houses were robbed while they were at
Yeah,
BravoCon.
that's cool.
I mean, I find it hard to believe that Kathy's
I
house was.
kinda
I thought she would have
That's how they
like
get money. I don't believe any robbery. I think that's how they get their money.
anymore their money.
Through that insurance policy. Did you hear that
Yeah,
Mary
I mean,
Cosby's son got arrested again for
I
the
forgot about
restraining
that,
order
yes.
violation?
Against his wife, right? Yeah. I feel bad.
Portia got in a fight at the airport. That lady made a
Yeah,
testimony and she said, I think I'm afraid that she's gonna have her people come after me and kill me.
forgot about
You're
that too.
overreacting."
And didn't Lisa from Miami and Julia get into it too?
Yeah, and Lisa made a big statement, like, "She came at me."
Yeah,
And now we know that what's her face has this reputation if she drinks too much, she goes after her
Julia.
friends. I believe it.
Yeah, yeah. So I just did some BravoCon news from what was announced. Teresa Giudice and her brother and Melissa made up and hugged at BravoCon. Vicky Gundelson was given an orange by Andy for season 20 of Real Housewives of OC. In one of the panels, Shannon Bedore called out her ex, David Bedore, and said whenever he hears her voice when he's talking to the girls, that he hangs up. And Shannon goes, "How happy are you after filing for divorce 4 times?" And I was like, damn. I mean, it's true. How many times have we seen in the news that he's filed for divorce from this current wife and then takes it back? Andy reveals that they have a cast for New York and they will start filming soon. He didn't say who's on it. It was announced that Lala and Tom Schwartz are now full-time cast members on The Valley. They dropped the Parisian Valley-style trailer, and I'm kind of excited for that. I miss the Shelter
Jazz the
Sunset.
Sunset, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. They also dropped the Real Housewives of Rhode Island
Uh-huh.
trailer, and I feel like it's just kinda like Jersey. They're all very Italian, but we'll
See
watch
it.
it. Andy said there will be an Ultimate Girls Trip in 2026, the Road Trip Edition.
They are torturing these
So I don't know how I feel.
girls.
I know, I don't know how I feel about that. Madison LaCroix got into a car accident on day 2 and canceled her appearance for the light that night. Evidently, it was raining really bad, and they said, like, the parking garage and everything started flooding, so I think that's what happened is something with the rain. In one of the Southern Hospitality panels, Emmy was asked a fan question about getting a prenup because Will has cheated on her, and she said Will has never cheated on her. And she said she thinks prenups are good, and she said that she will get one. Someone zoomed in and saw that Will was in the audience listening to her saying this. So, did we know that Dorinda from New York is a DJ? She was DJing there. So we have DJ Meredith Marks, DJ Pretty Mess, and now DJ
Believe it.
Dorinda. I feel like that's her way of staying relevant. She just her show's on a break. It's not a pause, it's on a break. So, and then the last one I had, which I thought was pretty funny, they had like all the newcomers from shows on a panel, and while they're on the stage, Wes actually gets his phone out and asks Brittany for her number. He also said he got Gigi from the Valley, the Parisian Valley's number, and he texted her and she did not. So that's all I have for that. I love streaming BravoCon. It was so nice to kind of see it and get a feel from what it actually is.
Yeah, I wasn't really on top of it, but I got to watch a couple of them. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
feel like it was very repetitive. Every year it's repetitive. Like they put on the show, they ask the questions, they do the meet and greet.
Mhm. Yeah, some of the panels I didn't care for. I didn't think they were interesting. You know, it looks like a ton of fun. I can see why tickets sell out really
They made
fast
so
for
much
it.
money.
Yeah, I know. And then you have like I think they call it the bazaar, where they actually have the housewives who have their own products. They have like a booth there. So I'm like, they're just raking in all the money right
Yeah,
now
all the
with
housewives, if
all of
they have a
that.
product, they can have a booth. That's why
They
I
can
thought
have
it
a
was
booth,
funny
yeah.
Madison had the pajama line,
Her PJs.
when that
Yeah.
shoulda be Daphne.
And there's Paige still hasn't said anything about not going or stuff
She
like that.
replied to Shep's comment because Shep blew up,
I did see that. Shep was saying stuff about
and
her.
she's like, "Do you need to borrow some money?"
I mean, we know she's rolling
Right.
in it. I also heard that Amanda and Kyle are like separated and that it was rumored that they had their own hotel rooms and they weren't staying together.
Maybe.
So,
Maybe. That'd be crazy.
yeah. Yeah.
Everything they fought for, like, 4 or 5 years, like, that was their whole storyline,
Rely.
and we get here, it's not gonna be like an Ariana Tom, it's gonna be like, "We told you it would happen."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a wrap on the episode of Bravo's Moms Unfiltered. We hope you had as much fun listening as we did spilling the tea. Because let's be real, moms need unfiltered moments too.
Make sure to follow us wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you love today's chat, leave us a review. It will help other Bravo loving moms find us.
Yes, don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Apple, what else?
Amazon Music.
Amazon. And then also Instagram.
Yes.
And yeah, like us,
That's
star
it.
us, give us your opinion, please, please, please.
Yes. Until next time, keep the wine chilled, the drama on TV, and the mom life real.
See you next week, Bravo moms.
I'm reckless, offensive. I destroy your defenses. My guest list is priceless, and yes, I run a tight ship. Bentleys and